It's dealing about addiction, and it is a spiritual warfare because, I consider I have a disease that which there's no known cure, but it can be arrested at some point, and then we can recover from the illness. And like that disease is like based on compulsion and obsession. You know, I used drugs for many, many years, and like a lot of people say, like, well, why did you use drugs? I don't know why I know why I used it to mask my feelings, but I never decided one day, well, I want to use drugs. I want to be a drug addict. I never decided that. I consider myself an addict, but I'm a recovering addict. And like, that journey took me many places. There was a void in my spirit, a void in my soul. And like, I figured I can medicate that with a better feeling, which was drugs. And when I did that, it took me to a lot of places that I would never go normally. I did 15 years in prison. I did 3 detoxes, 3 halfway houses. I robbed, I stole, I cheated, I lied. I became like the scum of the earth. Really the scum of the earth, and like I had to get it any means necessary. I didn't care who had it, I was coming to get it because I was on a mission. And like I tried to change on my own will, but I could never change. I wanted to, but the addiction was much, much stronger than my will. Much, much stronger. And the crazy part about it is that I grew up in a real religious family. And people say, well, you have a good mother, a good father, religious, you went to church. Believe it or not, my friend, it has nothing to do with none of that. Addiction, you don't know who's going to be hit by it. You don't know whether they're rich or poor. It doesn't really matter. Addiction does not discriminate. I mean, the only difference between the addict in the White House and the cardboard box is the one in the White House can afford it. And it's crazy because like people say, why don't you just stop? Just say no. And it's not that easy because like that's like telling the people, a person that has sugar or some kind of illness, like don't take the insulin, or why do you have sugar? It's a disease, and it's been proven. It's been proven by scientists and doctors all around the world. So when you would put a person in confinement, it does not treat the illness, it just contains the problem. So when he get out, he goes right back to his illness. And like I did that for many years. I went in and out of prison like 4 times, and every time I went in, I said I wasn't going to do it again. But I did it every time until I found recovery. And recovery is some steps that I practice. It's an anonymous program, but I practice it on a daily basis, and it works. It works. I have 21 years in June, and like this is the best life I ever lived. And what I like about it, it has nothing to do with religion at all. My journey is spiritual. I practice spiritual principles, and like I had to be broken in order to become willing to accept a new way of life. My values different now. My family asks me questions on spiritual matters now. They don't have to worry about me sneaking out the house when I got clean, where I'm going to be at that night, or whether I'm going to get killed robbing somebody. I'm a whole different person when I'm not, induced with drugs. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and it's only by the will of God that I'm here talking to people, because I should have been dead a long time ago. The average person that lived the lifestyle that I lived, they're gone. I'm like on borrowed time, so I understand my purpose today. And the man upstairs, which I choose to call God, he spared me for a reason. And like, this is what I do. I talk, I give back, and I try to help people understand the disease of addiction, because it is powerful. But I believe that God is more powerful than that disease of addiction. Oh my God. I said I wasn't going to cry, but God is more powerful than I am. And it's, it's funny because like I said before, when you become broken, then God can use you in them broken places. I had to be broken. You know, I was at the Delaware River contemplating suicide. I was contemplating drinking rat poison because I thought my life wasn't worth two. And I wasn't good to nobody. I wasn't taking care of my kids. I was a bad beat father. And like, I just wasn't like, my son used to call 411 and ask the operator, have you seen my father? You know, so I felt like gum on the bottom of your shoe. And like, so I was contemplating to drink rat poison at the Delaware River, like 21 years ago. And like, when I was at the river contemplating how I wanted to kill myself, it is funny how we plan, but God planned, and God plan is better than ours. And like, God gave me an intelligent fear, like, if I drink rat poison and don't die, I might be retarded the rest of my life. And I was scared to do that, you know? Like, I don't want to be retarded the rest of my life, like, you know, from rat poison. And have to explain to people, I drank rat poison and tried to take myself out, and I couldn't even do that, you know? So I said, well, maybe I can jump in the Delaware River and drown because I'm a city boy, I can't swim, you know? And then I thought if I jump in the river, or in like, I might go up and down and just swallow water and strangle myself and don't die and still be suffering. So I got an enlightenment, like a spiritual enlightenment. At that time, something said, go to detox, clean your act up. I invested more in you than this. And you know, God is like, spoke to me as clear as me and Kathy speaking now. And I said, wow. So I went to detox. I went to detox in Sea Caucus for 28 days. And that was June 25th of 2001. And I've been on this journey ever since. And I hear people say, well, you know, nobody's perfect. They make mistakes and go back out and do this and do that. And for me, it's not a mistake. If you go back out, it's a choice. Mistake is knocking over a glass of water or milk or dropping an egg. That's a mistake. If you go back out after hearing this message, the spiritual message that God can do anything through this process, then you go back out, that's a conscious choice. So I beg to differ with people all the time, and a lot of my friends call me a drill sergeant. They said, you're too hard. No, I'm not. It's just that I know the disease of addiction does not play. It wants me dead. First of all, it wants me dead. I'm living on borrowed time now. So why would I play with this thing on a daily basis? It only gives me a daily reprieve. And that daily reprieve is like, okay, it's arrested one day at a time. I can't beat this thing by myself. I have to talk to friends. I have to talk to a network. I have to talk to spiritual, strong people like Kathy, like a guru, somebody else that can tap inside what I need to be tapped inside. And it doesn't have to be about the drugs. So I'm glad she made that plain in the beginning. It don't have to be, it could be loss of a loved one. It can be your spirit being broken. It can be through breakups. It can be any way you got hurt. Because pain is a motivator. And I thank God for pain, because pain means that there's an indication that some things or something has to change. And like, I thank God for pain. So that journey is definitely an inside journey. It's an inside, it's like your heart and your soul. When you're tired, you're tired. And I was tired. And I got tired of going in and out of prison, saying I never go back again. And I couldn't keep my word, because when the disease called my name, it calls me by my first name. We was on first name basis. I fell in love with it. And there's no feeling like that in the world. So I became addicted to that feeling. But when I plugged into God And when I say God, please don't get me wrong, I'm talking about spiritual. Because there's atheists that in recovery too. And if you say, well, if you don't believe in God, you can't recover, that's not true. All you have to do is have the desire, and then that God piece will come later on, because God has a way of penetrating falsehood. He has a way of penetrating in your soul, your mind, and your spirit against your will. And he don't have to ask for your permission. So yes, it's definitely an inside job for me. I like to use metaphors because, like, it brings pictures to people that don't understand the spiritual journey. Everybody's not on the same plane. Everybody's not on the same level of understanding. It's just like picking a rose. When you pick a rose, you might pluck your hand on the thorn. And you say, damn it, excuse me, I plucked my hand. But then when you get the rose and you smell the beauty, you say, oh my God. You forget all about the thorn. And that's what life is to me. All the journey, I can never forget my journey. My journey is my resume. The pain that I endured in the prison time that I've endured, in the streets that I lived on, I endured, is my resume. That's which gives me the muscle to come up here and tell people, this is not something that you learn in Yale or Princeton. You know, this is what I live. So I give muscle to it. And when I talk, it's like a passion because I have empathy. I'm not like, well, you should do this, you should do that. I don't know. No, I've been there. I know what it is to be sick from heroin. I know what it is to rob somebody. I know what it is to send a woman out there and make some money so we can get high. And then marry her later on, my first wife. So the journey has been sweetened by the storm. There's nothing that could fill a God-shaped hole but God. And that's what it's about. And if through you losing your son, it gave birth to this new idea. Probably the reason you're talking to me now. You know, because it wouldn't be. Because we're talking about addiction. We're talking about losing someone. We're talking about gaining much from losing someone. We're talking about the Spirit of God that exists in everybody. Everybody has that pearl. Even to a homeless person. It's just that the light is flickering. And they need somebody to come there and just fan that light. Fan that flame. You know, because this life is still worth holding on to. Because God created it. If God didn't create him, then this life wouldn't. God created it. That's God in him too. And that's why I don't frown on anybody. I got a mission, and my mission is to help the restoration of souls and spirits. I tell people that all the time. And that's why when I talk about it, I get goofy, I get chilled, and like I be saying like, oh, I ain't gonna cry today, I'm gonna cry. Yeah, God said, yeah, right, we'll see. You know, because he knows. It's tears of passion, it's tears of gratitude, because there was so many years that I couldn't cry. I couldn't cry. So I just kept stuffing it and stuffing it and stuffing it. So every chance I get now when somebody talk about the goodness of God, the gratitude they have for life, the journey, and coming together with that one spirit, it just like my cup runneth over. You know, and now I understand what that phrase really means.